Now we're going to learn how to identify end behavior algebraically. This can be tough for students because it depends on a couple things. The first thing it depends on is the degree of your function. There's only two types. There's positive degree. Let's start at positive. Let's try that again. That way I don't have to delete this. So now we're going to turn our attention to end behavior algebraically. What can be tough about this is when we're given an algebraic form like this one, where things are not in the right order, students get a little stuck trying to figure out what is the right thing to focus on. What we need is to identify the degree of the polynomial. And there's two types of degree. There's odd and there's even degree. So what we need to look at in our polynomial that is not in standard form is that there's a bunch of terms here, but we're focused on the highest power. And if we're looking for the highest, our eyes should find the 5 here. The 5 is odd. That's our job. Number one job is to sort whether or not your degree is odd or even. And then we want to focus on that leading term. So the leading term is 5x to the 5th. Okay, so degree is odd, but now the leading coefficient, I call it the a value. The a, also known as the leading coefficient, we need to decide if it is positive or negative. And there's only, again, two options. Thankfully, this one's conveniently positive. So, positive and odd. That pairing gives us one of 4 answer choices. So, what I mean by that is all odd degree, positive a value, positive leading coefficient graphs do one thing. They act like positive slope lines. Lines either go up from left to right or they go down from left to right. And so this means that there's only 2 possibilities for my end behavior. We're going to choose the one that looks like a positive slope line and focus on what the arrows would be doing. The positive slope line has movement up and to the right and down and to the left. So what I'd like to do is just give us a 4-square chart that helps us whether or not, no matter what our next subsequent problems are going to be. So let me erase my little doodle there. And we're going to get a nice little chart. And I'm going to draw a positive slope line and a negative slope line. I'm going to draw a happy parabola, and I'm going to draw a sad parabola. All polynomials can be broken up to look like these most basic polynomials. They all behave one of these 4 ways. So if you get a positive a value, you're up here above this horizontal line. If you get a odd degree, you're over here between these 2. If you get an even degree, you're over here among these 2. If you get a negative a value, you're down here with these 2. Those are your only 4 options. So as I focus on these 4 right here, it breaks us up into these 4 categories. Okay, so we have to focus on odd, even, and then positive or negative. And then that puts us in one of these 4 categories. And now we'll go to the next step and give you the answer every time. If it's if you match up positive a value and odd degree, the answer will always be x, arrow, positive infinity, y, arrow, infinity, to match that arrow. And then down over here, this answer to the left will always be x, arrow, negative infinity, y, arrow, negative infinity. Always. So these 2, the pairing of those 2 will be the answer. And we can select that answer right over here because that's what this one's supposed to look like. Well, I'm going to give you all of them right here. If you ever have a positive a value even degree, this arrow, the answer will be x arrows negative infinity, y arrow infinity. This arrow here would be x arrow infinity, y arrow infinity. So those two are accomplished, and now we're going to do these ones down below. If you ever have an odd degree negative a value, this left facing arrow is going to be x arrow negative infinity, y arrow infinity. And the last one down there, this arrow here would be x arrow positive infinity, y arrow negative infinity. One more to do, and then we'll have all of them. These are always the answers. If you can decide whether it was odd or even. This one right here is going to be x arrow negative infinity, y arrow negative infinity. And finally, this last arrow would be x arrow infinity, y arrow negative infinity. So if we can figure out what we have between these graphs based on whether or not we're odd or even, positive a value or negative a value, we can sort and know our solution every time. So now let's go ahead and select the answer for this particular problem. We're looking for, as we go to the right, we should have a positive. So that's either the first line or the last line. And then as we go to the left, we should be going negative. And so that means the second line would have been the answer that we would have appropriately selected for this problem. So now make sure you have this chart sitting there for you, ready for the next problem. So now we can move a little more quickly through a few examples. Now that we've got the big list, we know that this is the highest power. That is even. And so we have an even with a positive a value, positive leading coefficient. So what that means is our problem acts like a parabola. So we just have to pick the end behavior that works like the parabola. We know we're going to go left and up, right and up. So left and up looks like one of these. This means left. And then we're looking for positive y's. So these mean up. So matching those two in there. Now moving to the right, we're also going to go up. So these all mean moves to the right. And we're looking for the one that says also up. This would be an option. This would be an option. So we're looking for the one where they're both selected, which is that middle line here. So this is our answer. So now we'll take a look at a cubic function, which is an odd degree with a negative a value. So now we've got odd degree, negative a value. That will behave like a negative slope line. And so we can quickly identify that this is left and up. So we're picking x values that are left and y values that would be pointing to positive, and those mean up. So this is left, up, and then up. So we only have two choices. And then we're looking for right, down. So these are all going to the right. And then we need the one that's also going down. This one's going down, and this one's going down. And we're looking for the match, which is the first answer selection. This would be the correct line to write for our end behavior for this polynomial. So rounding out our list, we're going to find this time we have a very long polynomial. It has a negative a value and a highest power of 6. So this is an even degree. And it has a negative a value. That behaves like a sad-faced parabola. And so our sad-faced parabolas go left down, right down. So we look for our x arrow negative infinity, which mean left, and we're matching answers that go down. So that would be these options here. And now we're going to go toward the right. These all mean right movement. And we're looking for the one that also goes down. So that's these bottom two options. And the match is the very last line for our correct answer for this problem's end behavior. So I hope that you're seeing that there's one of each of the four options. And this is always the answer. They never change.